And if we win that game, it's one more game. That's it. And we're in Arlington. I just think like the setting is a little underhyped right now. I think people should be way more excited, but people are still protecting themselves.
I'm here to talk with you again because the Bearcats keep losing and Scott Satterfield is stinking and the visions of Arlington are dying. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Chatterbox Bearcats. Very late live post-game show. Usually go live as soon as the horn sounds. Wanted a quick reaction of this one, but didn't want to spend too much time. Wanted to burn the tape and say we are on to hoop season. Maybe. I don't know. Here's the thing. After a 30-24 loss at Nippert Stadium, you heard Eric Lilly to start the show saying there should be so much buzz leading into this game because it's the game before the game. You win this one, you beat BYU. It's Arlington, baby. It's Arlington for a Big 12 championship. Now, does this 1,000% eliminate UC? Mathematically, I don't know. I got to get Poindexter on. I got to call up Lilly. Honestly, he's supposed to be on the show right now, maybe in a gutter somewhere in Clifton. We can't get a hold of him. I'm dead serious. Lilly, if you're out there, please give me a text to make sure you're okay. It's been like 6 hours, my friend. But this was supposed to be the game, right? Just the ultimate trap game where you win this one and next week is the massive one. You win, you're in Arlington, and maybe there's a chance to still make it there mathematically, but this team's not good enough. Let's just get real. We've seen that the last 2 weeks. This was a backloaded schedule, and it's a team that's 25th in the country right now, and they won't be 25th in the country by the time maybe you're listening to this show. Very unfortunate. Cats fall to 7-3, 5-2 in the Big 12. Noah Fafita killed the Bearcats with 294 yards through the air. Sorsby struggled again. This was one of the best pass defenses he's played all season. It's the best in terms of interceptions and threw 2 more of them today after throwing some picks against Utah. So the man that was uninterceptable has now turned it over, including his first pass of the game. Lilly was in line to get his beer by the time Arizona had picked it off and scored the first touchdown of the game. Bad omens to start. But since he rattled off 2 touchdowns in their first couple of drives, and then from there, it was like an hour and a half of real time. I'll give you the exact stat because Brennan Sorsby went a long time in this game without completing a pass. Stand by. Hour and 23 minutes of game action. Sorsby went without completing a pass. Now, fortunately, Tawi Walker on the ground went for 119 yards on 12 carries. Zion Johnson, the freshman, 7 for 42 and a touchdown. He's a positive. But the negatives, man, they did not get Arizona off the field. How many 3rd and 6s did you see that wound up in an Arizona touchdown drive? Pretty much every drive in the second half. Every single one. The Cats had them 3rd and 6 at some point. A few of the times, I think, within their own 25-yard line. And each time, through the air, they were able to pick it up. Meanwhile, you go over to UC, on their 3rd and 8s, it wasn't even close. They were doing QB draws. They were going, 15 feet over Jeff Caldwell's head. People were dropping balls. It just, man, it's hard being a fan of this program from time to time. Now, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I mean, everyone that's listening to this show, I've suffered through 5 years of Wes Miller. I got to be half glass full at a certain point. And Scott Satterfield exceeded expectations this season regardless. They could lose out, much like they did last year after I wrote the apology. I write the apology this year, and they start losing. But 7-5, 5-4 in the Big 12 ultimately would have been a step in the right direction. Now, do we want that to happen? No. Please beat BYU, take care of TCU, and maybe, just maybe, we're talking about something other than the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Honestly, I don't know if the Big 12 qualifies for the Duke's Mayo Bowl, but I wouldn't mind seeing some Mayo fly all over Scott Satterfield. The Scott Satterfield needs to go comments are already flying in from some of the faithful. That's a talk for another day. Ultimately, I think he's coached a pretty good year. They ran up against Brent Brennan and company today, a team that was pretty equal to them. And the difference was Arizona made some plays. Cincinnati did not. But again, it goes down to the 3rd down conversions and then the turnovers. Arizona was able to turn over UC. They had their 13th pick, which is best in the Big 12. Minutes into the game, the TD allowed right away. UC's first drive, they had Tawi Walker go for 39. Then the true freshman Zion Johnson almost took it in with a house call. Sorsby would finish it off with a keeper. It's tied up. Next drive, UC had it. The blocking was just so good. Walker had that long run. I think it was 32 yards, or it was 32 yards per carry through like his first three, but had a really nice run. Then Sorsby found Jeff Caldwell, touchdown, 14 unanswered, 75 yards each drive. And I'm going to give you a look into my life today. This was one of those rare games where I didn't watch it all live. I watched the first half at my house. I had plans with the wife. We went out on a little lunch date with some friends. I had the game cast up and honestly did not think that the Cats were going to lose this game. My plan was to be back as soon as the horn sounded, to be talking about a win, to pop champagne, to get ready for BYU. They lost. I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay out for a few minutes longer. I'm not going to race home to be depressed for the next 30 minutes in my basement. But I guess there were some good moments from today's game. They blocked a field goal. It was UC's first since 2022. So the special teams, hurrah. UC had a nice game from Logan Wilson in the first half. It was his dog game. But second half, I don't know exactly who it was in the secondary. But I guess we're not going to pin it on the kids, right? We'll pin it on the defensive coordinator, Tyson Veit. His defense was getting carved up like a damn Thanksgiving turkey. Looked like my punch card in the third grade. It was Swiss cheese, man. It was too easy for Arizona. And once again, those dual threat quarterbacks, if you call Fafita that, because he only had 9 carries for negative 11 yards and a long of 6, but he's quick, he's shifty, he can move a little bit in the pocket. And I thought once again, these types of quarterbacks continued to, aka good quarterbacks just beat down UC. You know, when you play UCF in a wide receiver or whatever in the backfield, our defense seems to look pretty good. But Arizona had no issues today. Final numbers of offense. First of all, third down efficiency, 8 of 16 for Arizona, 3 of 12 for Cincinnati. That's your difference in the game. 475 for Arizona. After Utah went for like 600 last week, Arizona goes for 475. Defense isn't great. UC's offense goes for 344. But specifically from the quarterback and the receivers, it just wasn't there. Sorsby, 15 of 28, 154 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. That is not going to get it done. His top receivers today, Caldwell, 5 for 68. Cyrus Allen, 5 for 68. Joe Royer, only 1 catch for 8 yards. We're talking, I heard on the broadcast today, they're talking about Joe Royer as a potential first-round pick. And look, he blocks. He's got speed. He's got a ton of talent. You look at him and you see NFL all over him. But 23 catches for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, I guess on paper for a tight end, that's not that bad. But I thought we were going to see bigger things from Royer in this game. And frankly, for most of this season, considering I can point out like 2 of the catches that gave him 200 of those yards or close to it this season with some long ones. Again, Sunday, he was everywhere. 13 tackles, 4 solo. Cincinnati getting pressure on the quarterback. Christian Harrison, rather it was Micah Coleman who had a sack. Jalen Hunt had a sack. Parker had a sack. 3 total sacks for Cincy. On the other side for Arizona, they only had 1 sack. So once again, UC's offensive line does their part. Unfortunately, that's just what we've come to expect. Even when Sorsby has a clean pocket, there just is not a ton of moving up and down the field. And when we did move up and down the field today, it was usually from the running game. Cats offense went cold after that third drive of the game. We were up 14-10 at half. I felt good. I think most people in Nippert probably felt pretty good, but it switched in a hurry. First of all, UC up 14-13 in the third. We're running a counter on 3rd and 8. What are we doing, Scott? Come on. What are we doing? I know Sorsby struggled to pass the ball, but you're 5 yards short of picking up the first down. Go for the sticks. There were 2 or 3 times where we just didn't go for the sticks. We're running, halfback screens. What are we doing? Up 14-13. It's 3rd and 5. I mentioned the 3rd and 5s for Arizona. They're from their own 20. They have the 35-yard one-handed completion. Then Risanos had like a 50-yard touchdown right after that. That was just a pathetic effort by the defense. I don't know if we even got a finger on them. Touchdown, Arizona's up, and Arizona was up for good from there. I mentioned screens and stuff from the Bearcats. Meanwhile, Fafita just making it look easy. Had a 3rd and 7 touchdown. Sorsby, meanwhile, was hurting. Again, he wasn't good, but he's still a dog. He's a dog. He's a competitor. He was playing hurt. He fights, and he gives it his all out there. So that's another pat on the back for Brendan Sorsby to being one of the dudes out there, to being a leader, to being a captain. But in terms of actually completing passes, whether it's his fault, whether it's the receivers who dropped many, it wasn't good. And that last pass of the game was not even close. It was about 10 yards over his closest receiver's head. Cats had to go 87 yards. Just kind of the game in a nutshell, right? You have 75 yards, I believe it was, to win the game. You're thinking, this is Kansas all over again. We're down 6, score, we win, we go into BYU. How sick this would be. Place would be buzzing. And instead, there's a pass interference on the offense. First play of the drive goes back 12 yards, 87 yards away now. It's 1st and 22. And yeah, UC never even really made it interesting on that last drive. Another sad day leaving Nippert. And again, you're not making Dallas. I'm just going to go ahead and get out the Sharpie right now. You are not making Dallas. It's not happening. So now 10 years ago when I went to the Liberty Bowl down in Memphis, that was a hell of a trip. I had a great time. I got up for bowl season. Bowl season sucks. There's no argument with NIL and with the transfer portal opening and with players opting out. It's not what it used to be. You're in the college football playoffs or it sucks straight up. I don't care whether you're in the Gator Bowl, if that's still a thing, the Pop-Tarts Bowl, the Cheez-It Bowl, although that's no longer a thing, the Duke's Mayo Bowl, whichever, they're irrelevant for the most part. Last bowl UC was in, the Fenway Bowl, that was the worst product I've ever seen in my life. You know, since he didn't have a coach, Louisville didn't have a coach, it was an atrocity. It was terrible. And I don't really want to watch that again personally. So hopefully we get a miracle. Otherwise, it's on the hoop season, everyone. Cincinnati Bearcats are 3-0. They got the Louisville Cardinals coming up on Friday. First of all, we'll have the postgame show for Mount St. Mary's on Sunday as UC looks to go to 4-0. If you haven't been paying attention, Sean Abayev's a very legit freshman that's drawing NBA top 15 mock draft picks. Realistically, I saw one where he was taken 12th by the Oklahoma City Thunder. And if you haven't seen a game yet, when you watch his talent, you'll understand why. This guy can put the ball in the basket, shot taker, shot maker. They got Baba Miller, who's very enticing, although he did struggle the last game. But he's a 6'11". I guess you'd call him a forward, but he's kind of like a wing where he plays out on the perimeter, has decent handles for his size, a decent shot for his size, but he can really grab it and go, push the pace, and a supercharged athlete that can throw down with the best of them. Cram it. That's what he does. And then Mustafa Cham, who actually, I think by season's end, if he continues to play this way, maybe in a fighting spot with the freshman Tyler McKinley, the hometown guy for the starting spot in this team. And that's more so a pat on the back to McKinley, who just appears to do all the right things out there, not a stat sheet stuffer, but seems to be a pretty well-rounded, good basketball player for his size. So that's something to watch out for. But it's Mount St. Mary's. If you don't win that game, Lily may actually be in the gutter with Pennywise, and we don't want that. So beat Mount St. Mary's, and then Friday, we'll have the midweek show before Niehaus and Lily. Friday, Bearcats in Louisville. Cardinals are awesome. I think they played OU today. Let's get you that score live on air to see if they took down the Ohio Bobcats. 106-81, the final score. Louisville won that game. They're 12th in the country right now, and you figure when the polls come out, they're going to be higher because they took down 9th-ranked Kentucky by 8 points at the Yum Center just a couple of days ago. So Louisville's legit. Cincinnati's going to get their first test. That is Friday, November 21st. It is an 8:30 Eastern time game. at beautiful Heritage Bank Arena. Get your ass there. This is Chatterbox Bearcats. Thanks for joining a short, late post-game show just to kind of break down how it went. Unfortunately, I thought we were going to be talking about fun things today, getting ready for BYU. Instead, it's still BYU next week. Still a game with big implications, but the Cats need a ton of help. And honestly, I'm not feeling great about BYU at this point anymore. Everyone have a great night. This is Chatterbox Bearcats. Hello, darkness, my old friend. The pacing's just, it's off right now. All right, everyone. See ya. Have a good one. Chatterbox Bearcats, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I'll be practicing karaoke. I've here to love you again.